Good afternoon to all our listeners. At the outset, I should record that our guest today is Professor Dr. Usha Krishna, who was a well-decorated alumnus of this college, and she retired as Professor and Unit Head, Honorary Professor and Unit Head in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Madam has been described over the years as being dynamic, energetic, enthusiastic, and ever young. And all of us who have been her students are not only in awe of her but also have appreciated the tremendous role she has played in all our lives, both personally as well as professionally. I am Dr. Chauhan, professor in this Department of Obstetrics and Gynaec, and when I first got a unit, it was the famous Friday unit, which had been established by Dr. Usha Krishna as the Bad Obstetric History OPD, and that was one of the areas that she was very well known for, her work with recurrent pregnancy wastage. And that Friday OPD was a great honor for me to take over almost 20 plus years after Madam's retirement. So, ma'am, we are recording this for our archives as a part of the work of the Medical Humanities Cell, and we would really like you to take us through your journey in, say, G.S.MEDICAL College and KEM Hospital, from your student days to your residency and onwards.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you, Dr. Gopametta, Dean, and everyone here for considering me to give my contribution, because G.S.MEDICAL College and KEM Hospital has been very, very dear to me, and there are innumerable happy memories that I have, and I feel whatever I am, a large portion of credit would go to KEM Hospital. They brought us knowledge, they brought us love, and they taught us how to be concerned for their patients, for the students, and more colleagues. We developed tremendous humanity while working here. Humanity can be a subject or it can come spontaneously, and I think it matters a lot on the teachers we have had and the education that we have got, the colleagues we have. And therefore, I would like to say that right from the time I was very young, I always thought I want to be a doctor. Though my parents have been educationists, my father started Neura school, my mother did her Montessori education in Spain with Madame Montessori. Then as I grew, they thought I will take over the school, but I was very determined to do medicine. After that, I was fully encouraged, and I was just telling our dean that I remember the day on which I sat on a chair opposite the dean, and he asked me, "Why do you want to be a doctor?" And I said, "I just felt like from within, and you will see, I'll do great justice to it." And I tell you, he was quite moved, and he said, "Okay, join us." So the beginning. I can say that as I studied, I came across wonderful occasions. First day when we went to anatomy hall, no less than Dr.manu came. He knew my father and Dr. Meena Desai, Dr. Praful Desai's wife, and Leena. They were my colleagues. So he knew them, and he wanted us to feel at home. And being such a great surgeon, working in KEM Hospital, in the operation theatres, he still climbed up 2 floors. He came to the anatomy room where we were trying to do dissection. And he stood behind and said, "Usha, Meena, you are going to do a good job. Those who can dissect well, those who put in their heart in small things will grow big. So do everything very meticulously. And if you have slightest problem here, come to me. I think it was very, very encouraging, very human for a big surgeon to come and tell us this. As we started, we got more and more interested, and I can tell you some episodes which were superb. Once I can say, when I was a resident, I was working under B.N. Purandare, and Sir had not only interested in gynecology, he was a great administrator. He could start research center. He could get the commissioner of Bombay to our department. He could take us around with the commissioner and say, this is where I want the table, this is what I want the equipment, these are the library, this is, and he could go around and take us around and visualize. And where I still remember where at some point where the commissioner said, this we can't afford. So he said, okay, I'll pay for it, but do it. And the little things that I learned, he had to be phoned at 5:30 in the morning for the operation list. Why? Because 6:30 his classical music teacher would come, and 7:30 he would start his private operations, and then he didn't have time. And the first day as a resident doctor, as a houseman, when I was told you have to phone at 5:30, I said, oh, but I said, yes, I will. And I could see how involved he could be, not only in surgery, in organization, in teaching, in doing good surgery. I still remember while assisting him, if a blood-stained swab touched the side, I don't like all these stains, he told me. Oh my God. We had to understand the person. And secondly, he started taking me to Kelewadi to see Marathi plays. This was his greatness. We would go at night, and then I still remember seeing Jyotsna Bole and all these, and I got interested in plays, then in music. And when we were still young and first year, he said, well, for college day, you will have to act. So I told, sir, I don't know how to act. I will teach you how to act. So we took part in the first drama, and then afterwards he said, now all those who have acted, I am taking you to Lonavala. So he had a big green car, I think Kaiser, and he put us all in that car. And those days there were no express road. The car was climbing Lonavala Ghats. Suddenly the car stopped. Then he said, get down all of you and push the car. And stupidly we got down and pushed the car. The car was working. He didn't want our load there. And after we took the slope, the turn, he started the car and drove. And then we were walking and trudging behind. And then he said, okay, I'll give you wonderful dinner. So at Lonavala, at the station, he had arranged very nice lunch. Then we went to his home. Can you believe he had a harmonium? And he said, now we will have music. This is called not gynecology. This is called something. How much he cared. He had been to my home many times. He had taught my children how to drive. He had a little farm and he had a tractor. So the children would sit, my children, on the tractor and learn. I want to come back to one more teacher. Dr.M.V.L. Purandare would know his subject extremely well, but he never wanted to be with the commissioner and big people and all. He would just like to. So once when the commissioner came, Dr. V.N. Purandare said to call V.N. He said, "Nahi, me operation karte." So he went away. But he could teach well, he could operate well, but they are some who are too shy to keep coming in front. So in our department, Dr. B.N. could organize, V.N. could operate, Dr. Mutasha started laparoscopy, Dr. Shirish Sheth remained a great friend of mine, Dr. Narvekar always passed on his nice work to me. The total atmosphere was superb.
Ma'am, can I take you back to your residency days and why you selected obstetric gynae?
I always thought that to deal with something living and to produce more life is very heartening, very rewarding. And those of us who have seen women in labor and those of us who have tried to be very nice to them will never forget. And obstetrics has such variety. That's what ultimately I started high risk pregnancy work. So, residency was one of the best. In fact, I want to divert a little and say that these days people say young students are this and that. I find they are very good, they are very clever. Their slides, their presentation, their English is superb. And you have to encourage them rather than criticize them. I would never criticize the younger students. They are very, very good.
But ma'am, actually currently the mindset of the obstetrician gynecologist is to not do obstetrics. And most of them are subspecializing and still at your age you continue to deliver patients.
Yeah.
So what is your motivation?
My motivation to see the smile on the mother and to see the cry of the little baby, and that happiness is fantastic. And since we are talking of our episode, once when I was teaching as a professor, my maid servant Bai brought my two children, a son and a daughter. He was 7 perhaps and she was 5, and they came crying. She came by a taxi and my daughter was very naughty, so she put a chana in his ear while he was sleeping. So just my Bai, she was quite stupid, she didn't understand. So she put water in the ear thinking chana will float. But the chana got swollen and stuck and he was crying with pain. Then my Bai didn't know what to do, she took a taxi. Then here she asked everybody where is, she couldn't speak Gynec. They, Usha, Krishnan, kutte hai? And then I was taking a class, I still remember the class next to Andre's room. So she came with 2 children, one smiling and one crying, and she exactly said, "Ata tumcha bhashan band kara." Ata he mula baga pehla. So I said, "Kai jala?" He said, "Kanat teni chana taklai, te kasa kadaicha." Then I told the students, just wait, I am coming back. So I took them, Dr. Karnik was the ENT head, and I said, "Sir," luckily he was there in the OPD, this was around 11, and then within half a minute, he had the right instrument, he took out the chana, and the child stopped crying. Then I told Bai, "Ata घरी जावा." "नाही, आता आम्ही नाही जाणार. आता तुम्ही तुमची गाडीतच घेऊन जावा." कसा आम्ही असा आलाय टॅक्सीत. And I said, "Okay." I went back to students and I said, "Are you willing to come back at 8:30? I'll finish the topic." And they said, "Yes." And at night I came at 8:30 and I taught them, and I still remember the smile on their face. So I think our love for teachers and our love for teaching was tremendous. I have one more very nice episode that Dr. B.N. Purandare had so much work that once in a while he tell me, I have to speak on so-and-so subject, you come to my home at 9. Why 8:39? Because he has to finish his music lesson, his operations, then he would finish his lunch. And lunch was वरण, भात आणि ते बटाट्याच्या शाक. आणि मी अशी बसणार आणि ते जेवणार. आणि जे टॉपिक सांगितलं आहे मी पुढे वाचून येणार, बरोबर प्रिपेअर करू आणि सरला सांगायचं हे ते about this topic starts from the incidents, this, you will listen like that. Next evening, afternoon, we used to have College of Physician and Surgeon seminars at 3 o'clock. So he would come there and speak. One day he told me, prepare on endometriosis. I remember the topic still. So I prepared and I spoke. Then when we sat in the seminar, he said, I'm not going to speak on this subject. Usha Krishnan will speak. She has prepared, not me. Look at his greatness to say that. I didn't have paper, pencil, lecture, nothing. He said, yes, you can get up. I got up and I spoke. And this is what a good teacher can do to give confidence. That was my first lecture. And after that, of course, I could speak. I learned how to speak and what more. Then, when you talk of humanity, I have to tell 2 episodes. That in the outpatient department, we are all busy examining patients. So one woman came with pregnancy, which was about 6 months, with a 1.5-year-old baby in a basket. And she said, "Ata mala abortion karu dya." So I said, no, 6 months we don't do abortion, but why do you want abortion? So she told me my husband was working at the construction, he fell down and died, and the contractor gave me 500 rupees and said, go to your village. And how can I look after this baby in the basket and my pregnancy, which is 6 months? So first I told her I can't do anything. So she left that baby in the basket and went away. And then of course I sent the ward boy to go and catch her, bring her back. And my mother used to do a lot of social work. She was also attached to Bapnogar, which used to look after ladies. So then I phoned my mother and I said, can you take this lady from here and look after? So that's how that lady went. She delivered and she learned tailoring. And now exactly I don't know, but she was looked after very well till she could start tailoring job. And there's so many social things that we come across that we have to. Like a man came and left a very old woman with osteoporosis in our ward. And he never told where he stays and went away. Then we looked after her for a few days. Then the dean sent me a note, why do you keep this old lady? So I wrote that I nobody. But he wrote, this is not a dharamshala. I said, but what shall I do? But again, so we have to keep our contacts with social organizations so that we can treat our patients, not just gynecology and obstetrics, but much, much more. And ever since I am involved, today I was the president of Family Planning Association. First, when I finished, I was luckily president of All India Federation of Gynecology, FOXY, and Mumbai Obstetric Society. And then chairperson of Scientific Committee of Asia-Oceania Federation. And therefore, I could be in touch with the best of people, the best of teachers. I could go to Professor Bergstrom and say, I want to do prostaglandins. And he took me in the WHO prostaglandin task force.
Ma'am, can we interrupt and go little chronologically because that may be helpful.
Yes.
So you mentioned about your undergraduate and your postgraduate days with your great teachers. When did you become an honorary?
Well, I was Dr. Narvekar's assistant honorary. And he was a wonderful person, teacher. It took long time for me to get the honorarieship, full honorarieship.
And did you ever work outside of KM? UG, PG,
Yeah.
and then honorary?
Because as honorary, Well, I was the chief of Railway Hospital, Jamtivanram, and I could set up seminars there. I could invite Noser, Pranay, and many more to start laparoscopy there. I could invite people from Bhati Hospital so we could start laparoscopy there. And so to get things going, I was very, very keen. I could go with V.N. Purandare Shirish Sheth for laparoscopic sterilization
Camps.
operations and camp. And fortunately, I think, I have all the support from children and my husband. Never did I have, and I attended as many meetings, conferences, learned the best from.
Ma'am, one of the things in KM when you were honorary was your work with ICM. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this was very interesting that I entered ICMR through WHO. It was the other way.
Okay.
And it was that I was in Europe because my husband was undergoing a senior executive management training and in Switzerland. So I also had gone with him. And then I went to the hospital there. And then I knew nobody. And there was a red light, but I entered and that was the head of department. So he asked me, do you see the red light? I said yes. But here I never had to have BN or BN, the red light. So I was quite used to being free. So he said, it means do not enter. Then I told him, but now that I've entered, can I sit? And he said, okay. Then I said, I come from so-and-so hospital, I'm interested in this and this and this, and I want to learn fetal monitoring. Through him, we got the first fetal monitor in India, through WHO. In India, believe me, that was in KM. And ultimately, we became such friends that when I was leaving Denmark, he gave a nice party. And that time he asked me, what is this, the red chandla that we wear? Huh? So I said, that is red light, says do not enter. He laughed and laughed. So I was very interesting. Same way, Sunil I read up on prostaglandins, I went to Karolinska, I went to his office and I said, I want to learn and I want to stay here for 7 days. So he said, but when, how, what? I said, I don't want money. Then I said, from today, because I didn't want to waste the whole day. So he took me to gynec department and believe me, luckily for me, they were all very impressed. Then said, can you join prostaglandin task force? So I became part of WHO and I could get many friends from Professor Ratnam, Marul Kumar, all these people. And Professor Bakstrom gave his first lecture after being Nobel laureate in our MLT, KM. And he used to stay with us. He became a good friend.
So Professor Sunil Bergstrom was actually the god of prostaglandins.
Yes. He got the Nobel laureate for that. And then he, I will never forget that, he spread it then to Dr.manu, and then we had more meetings, and one of the meetings was in KM, WHO meeting next in Delhi. And luckily I could arrange things with, I could tell Mr. Hawk-Larson, who was our MNT, Ram was working in MNT, chairman. So I want to bring all these friends. We have a beautiful house at Mud Island, where I had been many times. He said, okay. So he took all our WHO friends, entertained them at Mud Island. So basically, I think goodwill is most necessary, happiness is most necessary. I must stop, but I want to tell two things. One, Dr.manu was with me. I was somehow put in 5-year plans for health in Delhi. Now she was more senior to me and she was sitting there and I talked of whatever is latest, how we should get ultrasound, Doppler, monitoring and all that. Then she said, this young lady is very modern and thinks of the latest. has she seen villages? Has she seen the poor people? We need clean drinking water. We need iron and folic acid tablets. These things can come for teaching hospital. But she was an MD and she has started KM Hospital, Pune with 12 beds. Today we have 718 beds. And then while flying back, she came with a cup of tea and said, Usha, would you like to see a village? Would you like to work? Would you like to? In short, she invited me, my husband and children, showed us the villages, showed us the social worker, showed us the school. And in short, I got so involved that today I am a trustee at KM Hospital. Now 9th, 10th October I will be there for Scientific Advisory Committee meeting. We have adopted villages. She had 32 villages. I look at only 2. But change in our mental attitude is what matters. And I think I'm just going to end by saying 2-3 things. There's one teacher, Dr. Fernandez. She would really do counseling. She was in Kama Hospital to say, wear clean clothes, don't do this, we talk of counseling, but to talk to patients in such nice way, I learned from her. So each of the teachers, Ranjit Roy Chaudhary, he was such a great, you know more than me, but Professor Yukesh gave me the job of teaching the clinical pharmacology topic. So I started reading up and prepared, and I gave some lectures. Then Ranjit Roy Chaudhary invited me to Chandigarh for 7 days guest lecture. And then I became the examiner for PhD in. So naturally I myself had to read. So basically I think real hard work, but interesting. I was never tired. All the boys and girls cooperated, all students are wonderful. I don't have a single unhappy episode in my life. And therefore I would say 3 things as that: keep working, keep reading, and keep sharing, and take lots of interest. I am terribly interested in music, in dancing. Today we are members of National Center of Performing Arts and go very regularly. I would like her to come and work with us so that she has time for all that. My students don't have time for anything. I have got time for everything.
No, ma'am. But actually currently you, as you said, have these villages. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you are now doing?
Yeah.
Because I know you are still very busy in your practice, but your weekends are reserved for your charitable and social work.
No, we had a Balgram, an orphanage, we had total 130 girls. And there, first I started looking after medicals. I think you have come there also. And my husband set up, he's an engineer. So he set up a skill development program, which has ultimately become a big program recognized by central government also. It's called Technical Institute, Central Government Technical Institute, where these boys who come, they learn the skill, they're able to get the jobs. And because my husband had contacts of Larsen & Toubro at say Ahmednagar, we managed to find jobs for them. Then there is a village called Pabal, which is 30 kilometers from Pune. And there we have adolescent program where the girls can learn computer training, food processing, nursing training, and they also get tailoring training so that they become self-sufficient. I go there twice, and we have a person who is the head of that village in charge of that place. So now on 9th and 10th I'll be going there to see. we have not been 100% successful. Yeah, we have to keep trying for everything we try to do. And I think that this work is not very fulfilling unless you have a lot of colleagues who are honest, transparent, good. But we have to make them, we have to give them credit, we have to take them home. I used to have a wonderful time with students coming home, and I would call them home or take them for picnics.
Yeah. In fact, we still have one of the Makkai recipes which we call as Usha Krishna Madam's recipe, and we still make that. One criticism against other teachers has been that they have not helped their students. But where Madam is concerned, I should go on record to say that she has always been the person who has been able to connect the dots, connect the right person for the right job, use her contacts and friends to place other colleagues in good positions, and also she has this unique skill of taking people along with her. And I think that is very different from many other teachers who are more, about themselves, whereas Madam has always looked to promote her students.
And I also see that in our country, we can't wait for government to do anything. At Bhubaneswar, there is an institute called Kalinga Institute of Social Science and Kalinga Institute of Technology. And we got attached, and now there are 25,700 tribal children staying beautifully and completely free, because the fees come from the technology group. And we went and spent time with these children, and now we started a course, bedside nursing course for them, and there were good students also go for postgraduate. And in Aurangabad Hedgewar Hospital, we started a full nursing course for 4 years. So I think we can't start medical college, we don't need to. But if we could have more bedside nursing and more. Now I'm quite busy with Family Planning Association, where instead of family planning, instead of only sterilization and TB, I've added holistic care, pediatrics, tuberculosis and general care. And we have got grants from Tata for training other NGOs on counseling, etc.
So all this you are doing through your personal NGO?
No, this is through her.
You get involved with, supposing KM Hospital, Pune. It's an NGO. So, but I'm attached as a trustee. Family Planning Association.
Madam has actually chaired the family, she has been president of the Family Planning
Now
Association.
also I'm Medical Advisory Panel Chairman. So we bring the latest.
I think the skill that Madam has is she is able to make many offshoots, and each offshoot is successful.
Almost, but there are failures in life, but I don't get upset with failures. I just take it up and as a challenge. This Family Planning Association has a budget of 48 crores and it is 43 branches all over. So even to utilize, even to train the doctors, so I plan that for total number of doctors are 67 all over India, and I have been to most places for training the doctors and all. Similarly, as you said, KM may be one NGO, this may, FPA may be another NGO, Hedgewar Hospital, Aurangabad is another, Kiss and Kit, which is Bhubaneswar. So you get association. But my daughter has got, I would say, so involved that she started a trust with her American money, which she brought here. She is a professor, her husband is a professor of mathematics in Harvard and she in MIT. And she has started, it's called Foster Foundation, where to teach science to underprivileged school children because they are very science oriented. And she just put 2 crores first, but now it's growing. And we have taken total 2,700 students who are getting the science experiments, teachers. We are involved with Teach for India and we support 4 teachers for their stay and teaching and all. There is so much happening in India that just to be involved with all this is, and I'm somebody, I want something done and say, Anita, you have to do it, please, please.
In fact, most people get fooled by her outward demeanor. They don't realize how very well organized and how meticulous Madam's planning is. And they get fooled thinking, okay, Madam didn't remember or Madam didn't mean what she said. She remembers everything. And she's always looking at least 5 steps ahead into the future. And ma'am, if we could ask you to just...
No, you asked something very interesting. The day I retired from KM, I became Foxy president and emojis. The day I finished Foxy, I was with Asia Oceania Federation. The day I finished that, then I was with FPA. It's not that you are searching. By the time somebody, Mrs. Wadia, who really started Family Planning Association and then IPPF, World Organization, she one day called me for tea with my husband Ram. And she's serving tea and said, Usha, why can't you work for FPA? I said, I have enough things. Madam, I can't. Supposing I give you 7 crore. I said, what? And believe me, when she died, she left 7 crore with a note, Usha will run this center. And we built that center at Tilak Nagar. It's 6,000 square feet. From LIC, directors, GM's wife was my patient. So when they were very happy at Bridge Candy, what can we do? I said, you build a ward. So now we have 17 people's ward there. Then Godrej was our friend. So we built a hall, training hall. And we have about 10 to 15 laparoscopic sterilization alternate days. We have injectable contraceptives, and now we are pediatric, and now we have collaborated with Vision Foundation of India of K.V.L.Kothari. So now their van comes to check, and they've started primary health center equivalent for eyes, 2, both near FPA. So I go every Wednesday there. I don't practice on Wednesday morning to see how things go.
So I think
anyway, life is happy, beautiful, and it's all because of you, and I'm still waiting for her to join me.
Thank you, ma'am. But if you could end by telling us what you would like to leave as a message for our KM undergraduate students, and also what you carry with you from KM.
I would say, KM students, you are very fortunate that you are in KM. And the legacy of such senior, wonderful teachers that we enjoyed. And we have also given our best. And don't keep on wasting your time criticizing. Do something positive, build up something. You are having library, you can read, you can work, get involved with any one NGO that you like. And as I said, keep working and keep sharing whatever you have. But there is no end to your work, but there is only end in happiness. That's all I would say. Now I have really finished from bottom of my heart. What I wrote, I may have forgotten. Yeah, ICMR I wrote. Never mind. What else? ICMR. Like that. I wanted to tell, but I didn't say. KM is not as clean as it was, but I would say that. It's very bad now. When we walk through that corridor, it is very bad. But I said cleanliness. Then I think our reporting has to be much better. We are achieving a lot, we are not reporting enough. And whether we prepare a good newsletter, which should go to all the past students and keep people involved. How do you do that?
So, do you have any idea how do we get in touch with all those past students? I'm trying my best in that sense.
This Kirtan had done a good job similarly. That time we all came, about 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
There's only one batch.
Ah.
We take care of 40, 50 patients.
I think through the newspaper, one real good ad.
We did that one.
But you should not just have the names. You should have a clear-cut objective, what you will involve them in. And that should be ready. What are the objectives? And then people can choose. She may say, I can arrange seminars. Somebody can say, I can arrange village work. Somebody. So then you can have subcommittees, one related to teaching programs and one related to social work and one like. So,
But one important point where Madam is concerned is that whatever she sees you and she knows your potential. So she knows what she can get out of you. As she said, her friends may be Tata and go this, but she doesn't want anything for herself. But she's always looking how something can be benefited by that contact. And I think that's a unique skill, putting.
and when
A
you
to
go
B.
to Tata, they gave me 3 crores to give teaching programs for NGOs. So it's not that, and don't ask, this is my proposal, think over and let me know. And walk out. Then generally with positive. But I think that apart from medical education technology, humanity plays a very big role, not only for your own life, for your career, for your success, for your patients. They really get well. In my clinic also, if you write so and so name, your age, then what is your problem, then I do find out what do you do. Then somebody will say, I've been a teacher, but I lost my job. And you try to see that they can do something interesting. Because I have had very highly educated women. See, for Larsen and Toubro, I was a medical advisor. I had every year a program for the wives of executives, what they can do. And they became our volunteers to a great extent. So ask what to do.
One nice practice when I used to work with Madam, like if the patient comes, she has a card, she would always write the patient's husband's name. She would always write what they do. The next time they came, she would say, so how is Amit? And the patient would be so happy that she's remembered my husband's name. Or she would say the children's name she writes. Or she would remember what they were doing. And I think that's important because it makes her more approachable and the patient also feels more comfortable.
And it's very good not to have prejudice. Today we see quite a few ladies having problems and having divorce and having be sympathetic, apathy. Because try, but we can't solve everything. But be nice to them and not have any prejudice.
No judgment.
I think I have taken more than 1 hour.
No, madam, you must be having some other place to run.
Because